Hi everybody, I'm going to do a video today on Tradewars 2002. Tradewars 2002 was my very first multiplayer online addiction. It was a bulletin board system game, a doors game that I played in the early 90s. It came out in 1984 and was written by Gary Martin and was eventually purchased by John Pritchett, who has developed a telnet server that runs to this day. And John Pritchett actually currently still develops it and also is taking some time off because he's the physics programmer on Star Citizen, which blew my mind when I heard he was working on Star Citizen, which I'm, of course, a backer of and can't wait for that game to come out. So I would play Tradewars in the early 90s on my 386 SX computer with a 2400 baud modem. And of course, it was just local dial-up. I didn't have any money for long distance calls, so all the players that I played with were just local to my area. And two of the players that I remember from back then with their handles were Duck Dodgers, who was the best player on the board, and Reality. And Duck Dodgers played evil, and Reality played good. And I usually would team up with Reality, and we'd both get destroyed by Duck Dodgers, who was always very polite and waited until we were ready to be destroyed. So we would attack him, and he would just wipe us out after that. So Duck Dodgers or Reality, if you guys watch this and you're from the Philadelphia area, that Duck Dodgers and Reality, in case there were other ones. Um, Miss you guys. I'd love to play a game of Tradewars with you again someday. So I'm going to log on and show you a demo of Tradewars and what it's all about. I actually have purchased way back the Tradewars game server. I attempted to set it up and run a server for a bit, but always kind of had trouble with keeping the server alive. Um, the players that are left on Tradewars are extremely competitive and passionate about Tradewars. And I felt that even running it, I was not able to run it in a way where I could build it in a competitive way for them. You know, there was all these different settings for the length of photons and the buy and steal and all those kinds of things that everyone wanted tweaked. And then I had a dynamic DYNS server, and then that was kind of funky, and I had to update that thing. Yeah. Anyway, I had it running for a while, ran a couple games, and then I just kind of uh, forgot about it and no one was joining, so I just shut it down and never really fired it up again. There was a group that got together on Star Citizen, and then the guy that was running that disappeared as well. So, and now my building's behind a private network, and I couldn't even host it if I wanted to, unfortunately. Anyway, I'm going on these long tangents here about Tradewars. I've been playing Tradewars for a long time. This is the main screen, so when you connect, there's like one or two different screens. So let me see. Let's log out, see if we can get the other screen. I think this was my favorite screen, if I remember. The name of my server that I set up was Diaspar, which was the city from City in the Stars. And it was kind of a city of forever. So it was the last city on Earth as the sun is getting hot and killing the Earth. So it was kind of a city of eternity. And I really enjoyed that story, and I wanted my board, called it Eternity Tradewars, and of course my game was Diaspar. And the idea was that it was never reset, that eventually you get bored and you leave, and your account's deactivated. So there's these ancient empires that don't belong to anybody because your stuff that you do remains there. And no one ever really was into that idea, except for me. So somebody would decimate, and then I'd be like, well, just come back in a year, and their account will be gone, and all their stuff will be rogue fighters, and you can keep playing. And no one's into that. And of course, I had games that reset as well, and everyone played those. Here we go. I'm getting disconnected again. Yeah, so I'm going to be spieling a lot, obviously, in this video about Trade Wars. Do you want to auto-log in? No, I want you guys to see the screens. All right, let's see. We got that screen again. I'll do it really quick here. There's definitely a different screen. Maybe I am... Oh, that was a different screen. Go back and pause that one. That one had an animation. That was my favorite screen. There's the other one. There's the one with the planet. And there's a nice animated one. There it is. That was my favorite one. I actually used that image when I set up my bulletin board back in the day, which I called Eternity BBS for that same reason. And I used this image because I loved that space station back in the day. It's still pretty cool for ASCII art. I don't know if you say ASCII art or ANSI art. I guess ANSI art. And I love that space station. So the first time to describe this, going into this bulletin board, checking out this game, the first thing I do is I go to Introduction and Help, and I read all these instructions. And I mean, this game is so in depth. It's all text-based, but the strategy involved and all the detail in the game, I mean, it's just, look at all these options you can do. It's just unbelievable. And I, of course, had the patience back then to read through this whole thing, to discover all the ins and outs of the game. There was no vent back then for anyone to help you out. They could help you out by typing to you, which was a little less quick for having someone guide you through something. Especially, I always felt that I was a slow typer and that somebody would get annoyed waiting for me to type back to them. All right, I just ran through all that just so you can see the immense amount of instructions that are in here. And of course, you can view the game statistics. So there's all the settings that I have set in the game, and people can see if they're the settings that they like before playing. You can look at current high scores, which I'm the only person playing on my game, which is really sad. And then view access modes. I actually don't know what that means. That must be something with the new server or something. Unlimited multiplayer access. I actually don't know what that means. Oh, I should go into the server configuration too and show all that. Maybe I'll do that as another video. I'll show you guys the back end of setting up, banging, we call it, which is terrible, but as in a big bang, banging a new game. So you do a big bang, the universe is destroyed in a big bang and recreated. All right, so let's get back into the game here. And you can look at the log for the day. And that was always a scary prospect because you see the log and you might see that you were destroyed overnight because, of course, the game went on when you weren't logged in. So these are gold aliens. This is something you might not have seen back in the day, but with the new version, which actually was out. There was a gold version, even in the dial-up days, and you could turn on gold aliens, and the gold aliens actually actively do stuff. So they're different than the old Ferengi and the old traders that just kind of hung out around Stardock and Sector 1, and the Ferengi kind of moved around a little bit, but these guys, they trade at ports and will attack you and attack your home base and hold grudges and all kinds of cool things. And of course, as you can tell, I did a Star Trek themed Tradewars Big Bang for me, and I spent a lot of time, oh my goodness, setting this stuff up. I wonder if I have my spreadsheet that I can show you of all the ships that I designed. Alright, no messages. Okay. So, the game starts you out, well, so I already exist. So, if you're a new player, you get into a crappy ship, and you have to kind of wander around and trade and start building your ship. The most important thing in the beginning is to get scanners on your ship so that you don't run into hostile sectors. And then you keep building, getting bigger. You want to try to get planets and start colonizing right away. Again, it can be extremely competitive. I was never competitive, even if you give me. I use like a program called Swath, which does some basic scripting for you, but you can do like write your own scripts, and there's some other scripting thing you can plug in, and that was all too intense for me. I'm more just like, I just want to trade and kind of build a little home sector. And people find these huge home sectors. Okay, so I got a thing for people that aren't into Tradewars, never seen Tradewars before. I'm going to try to speak about it in a way that would explain things a little bit to that viewer. So there's different ports in the game. So let me go to Sector 1, because that's where it'll start you off. Ignore all this fancy stuff here for a second. What do I have in my holds? Nothing. So let me land on my planet and take some fuel. You don't start off with transwarp drive, which is how I'm going to get to Sector 1. So you can kind of ignore that. Okay. So you kind of start the game in Sector 1, which has Terra, which is where all the colonists are located. And all the players in the game kind of race to gather colonists. And when you set up the game, you can set up the colonist reproduction rate. So you can really limit the reproduction rate so that people have to fight and race for colonists, and really encourages them to not blow up people's planets, but to like capture them and transfer off all their colonists, or just capture their planet in general. So colonists become a very valuable commodity in the game. And you have a Class 0 port, which is where you can buy some of the things for your ship, which are cargo holds, which every type of ship has a maximum number of cargo holds, fighters, and shield points. So shields are defensive, and fighters are offensive and defensive. And so if you don't have, and you also don't have a scanner in the beginning, and not much money, so you can't really buy more holds for your ship. You start with a ship called a merchant cruiser, which I'll get to Stardock later and show you all the ships. This is going to take a while, now that I think about this. So if I didn't know where I was going with my scanner or anything like that, you can always hit V. There's another command that tells you where Stardock is. I kind of forget what that is. But V shows you the information, and you can see here my Stardock is located in 6433, and that's where there's a bank, and you can buy different ships and different items for your ship, so like transwarp drive or your scanners and those sorts of things. So 6433, so you can kind of move in that direction, 6433. So you just type in the sector that you want to move there. Pretend I don't have a transwarp drive. So then it's going to step. So it takes 12 hops and 48 turns. So you get a certain number of turns per day. So I have mine set to, let's see, does it tell you in here, 2,500 turns per day. And everything you do in the game eats up a turn. And when you build the game, you can specify how many turns per day, and you can go from unlimited to as few as you want. So if you want the game to be really competitive for all players, including those that are limited on time, you can set a very low number of turns, like 250, and then everyone should be able to stay competitive, but of course they won't be able to spend a lot of time playing, versus unlimited where people can just script the whole day long, or happy medium. So if I'm want to make a really competitive game for people that don't script and don't have a lot of free time, I usually make like a 750 turn game. I always found that that was a nice amount of turns for people with limited time, and also that play manually and didn't script. Anyway, okay, so engage autopilot. We'll say we're going to single autopilot. It'll only stop if we find something. So sure. So we'll say yes, and we'll wait till we find a port. So we're going to pretend like I don't have a scanner right now. Okay. So here we are. We're at a port. So I'm going to stop in this sector. So ports buy or sell 3 different things. They do equipment, organics, and fuel ore. And fuel ore is the cheapest, organics is the middle, and equipment is the most expensive. And so let's jettison my fuel ore. We'll pretend I don't have that. Okay, and I'm going to port and trade at this port. Okay, and I got you get experience points in this game as well. Experience points aren't necessarily a good thing. You might think it's a good thing, but you can stay safe in Federation space. So if I went back to Sector 1, Sectors 1 through 10 and Stardock are called Fed space, and it's actually safe to stay there. And I forget, there's a certain level of experience points, maybe 1,000, where you're then free game. Somebody could attack you in Fed space, but as long as you stay under that experience points, you're safe. So getting 50 experience points isn't necessarily a good thing for finding this port, and that's only because I've had this game running for so long. Usually a new port, when you find it, is 1 or 2 experience points. Alright, so we're selling X amount of fuel ore. I must have upgraded this port at some point in this game. And organics, and they're buying equipment, so we can't sell them any equipment, but I'm going to buy some organics. So I'm going to say 0 fuel ore. I'm going to buy 150 organics, and then we'll sell them for 3,620. So you can actually haggle with the seller to get a better price. So I'm going to say 3,300. So he drops his price 35.51. Says our final offer. So let me do 34.50. Let's see if he goes for that. Oh, I talked him down too low. We are not interested. So I'm going to do that, 3,500, 35.50. Okay, so 35.50 was a good price. So if you trade, if you get a really great price, you get 2 experience points. If you get an okay price, you get 1 experience point, and if they kind of ripped you off, you don't get any experience points. All right. So again, I don't know if there's anything in adjacent sectors. So normally at this point, since I found this port, instead of going right to Stardock, I want to check all these adjacent sectors to see if I can find something. So I'm going to go to 14444. So these are the different sectors. I'm in sector 20.885. And you can go to sector 4, 1, 444, or 14, 5, 19. I'm going to go here. Oh, there we go. This is one of my planets. Cool. um, I've been playing this game for quite some time, so I kind of have stuff sort of everywhere. But all right, so and Deep Space Nine. So this is actually a port that I built, and it's buying stuff. So I can trade at this port, and I actually have this port totally maxed out. But here we go. So I'm going to sell organics, and we'll buy them for 13,155. I'm going to say, no, man, give me 13,500 for those, and I got it. So, and I didn't even get it. So I could have got a better price than that. All right. So, and then the idea would be, since I found these port pairs, remember you have limited turns. So I'd want to take advantage of going back and forth. It's not really the best thing. The best thing is if that other port sold equipment, and then I could come back and sell the equipment, buy some more organics, and trade them back and forth. So that would be a really good pair of ports to trade. This one's not great because the other one doesn't sell anything. But in the beginning, I'm really just trying to get enough money to buy scanners. Because once I get the scanners, then I can be much more efficient. So I would actually trade down this port pair just to get the money to get to Stardock to buy some scanners. So let's pretend I did that. I bought down that port. Now I have enough money to go buy some scanners. So I'm going to head right to Stardock 6433. I'm going to get those scanners. And then I'll show you all around Stardock. Now, there's no other people in this game. Whoops. So these aliens are just computer-controlled aliens here. As you see, Smuggler, third class, blah, blah, and Menace, third class, blah, blah. And that guy warped out of the sector. You can kill them, capture their ship, get experience points, all that kind of stuff. It's never really financially worth it to kill the aliens, but it can be fun. That's good practice. And you can see we're at Stargate Alpha 1, which is Stardock, which is a special port. And I guess I'm going to go back and take a minute to reminisce before we land on Stardock about my first experience in Tradewars. So I told you about reading the instructions and getting in the game, playing the game. It's very daunting in the beginning. I didn't have even a minimal helper like Swath, let alone any advanced scripts. I just played it by hand on a 2400 baud modem. It was very slow. I never had played a game with other people in it, other than, I had my Nintendo and played two-player with controllers, but on my computer, talking to another computer, other people on their computers, and we're all doing this thing together. I can't even describe what that was like in my head, like how amazing this was. And so I eventually met Reality, who I mentioned earlier, and I'm struggling along on my merchant cruiser, trying to make money. And he says, come to sector, whatever the sector was. Let's just say 3000. Come to sector 3000. So I travel to sector 3000. And there's Reality. And there's an empty battleship. And he had towed a battleship to this sector for me to take for my own prize to help me get started in that game. And when I flew into the sector, just in text, in my brain, I pictured flying into this vast region of space, flying up to this sort of like derelict battleship and taking it over. I can't tell you how my imagination was going while I was playing this thing. And just seeing another player there where I was told to go and that we were communicating, it was just the most amazing thing that I've ever experienced up to that point on the computer. It was really great, a great experience. So anyway, little bit of reminiscing. Now we will land on Stardock, and I'll show you that. So we're going to port, and we're going to land on the Stardock. I love this. You bring your ship into approach for the Federation Stardock. This has to be the single largest man-made object you've ever seen. It continues on for miles. It contains factories for all the major brands of space-going craft. Since the materials wars of 1998 on Earth, all shipbuilders relocated here. You've heard many strange stories about the people and places here, but you haven't found many of either yet. Isn't that crazy? 1998. I wish we had that much spacefaring civilization by 1998. Unfortunately, we don't all the way up to 2015. But now we're starting to get interested in space again, which is good. You lose sight of the boundless reaches of space as your craft descends amongst the giant buildings onto a landing pad. All systems secured. Welcome to Stargate Alpha 1. Comes over your ship's intercom. All right. So we're on Starbase, and there's a couple things we could do. We can go to the theater, we can go to the bank, the hardware store to get our scanners and things, the Librarium Universitatis. I don't remember that. I wonder if that's a new item. Fed Space Police Headquarters, and the Shipyards, and the Lost Traders Tavern. Okay, so I'll start off taking you guys to the theater. We'll watch some of the movies that they have there. All right. Eager for some muted diversion, you enter Cineplex Videon, the Starport's new Hollow Theater. While trying to decide which Hollow to watch, you're rudely interrupted by the attendroid. Come on, pal, either buy a ticket or dematerialize. All these are very bad, if I recall correctly. I haven't played these in years. So yeah, just be prepared for terribleness. Here we go. All right, let's pay for Vulcan Thunder. Very cool Anzi movie, though, by the way. Okay. So, they apparently predicted Star Trek 2009 movie where they destroyed Vulcan, I guess. I don't know. Pretty impressive. Never thought about that. Okay, let's go back into the theater and let's watch Ferengi Nights. Ferengi Nights is sold out. Sorry. Oh. Star Trek. I guess I could never get into Ferengi Nights. I don't remember. You said it. All right, let's see if we can go to any other ones. I think you can go to Debbie Does Rigel. Let's see, Little Neutron, sold out, okay. Let's see, 200 credits for Debbie. Okay, that would be all the movies at the cinema. Oh, and you recover 66 of your turns, so you can recover your turns as you play. If you've reached, every certain chunk of time, it'll recover whatever turns based on the total number of turns. All right, so the Galactic Bank. So the Galactic Bank is basically where you can transfer funds to another player, withdraw, deposit, or check your balance. So this is mostly used for keeping a little bit of emergency balance. Um, Back in the day, I think it had a maximum balance of 500,000. Now it has a huge balance, so it's actually a really good thing because you can deposit lots of money. So if you get locked out of your sector, you can get money to buy stuff to try to get back into your home sector. And you can also transfer funds to another player, um, which is sort of convenient if they're not in your corporation and can't get to a planet. But you can always warp a planet and dump some money on it or something. But um, anyway, I don't know. But it's good to transfer money to another player. Okay. I'm going to skip around here a little bit. We'll go to Lost Traders Tavern. So, Lost Traders Tavern, so you enter the crowded confines of the tavern, take a seat by yourself. No easy task, considering how crowded this place is. You watch the other patrons carefully indeed. So, the tavern used to be able to make an announcement. So, when people walk in, they'll see something that you posted. Um, and I don't know about the ordering food and everything, but there's also talk to the grimy trader in the back. That's if you're a pirate, you could become a pirate or something. I never really played evil, but it was like a special pirate location that you could get into if you knew the code, where I think you could post bounties on the good players. So the good players in the police headquarters can post bounties on the bad players, and the bad players can post bounties on the good players in the CD part of the bar in the back. And I think you can change your name and stuff like that. Um, anyway, um, let's see. Buy something from the bar. I don't remember any of this. I'll probably get drunk and lose my. It'll be 14,050 credits. Whoa. Should I pay? Sure. Yeah, I've got the cash. You need more mines around your home base. Thanks. I guess it gives us a tip. Eavesdrop on conversations. Do you want to add to the conversation? Sure. Attack me at your own risk. So I think way back in the day, Tradewars wasn't multiplayer in the sense that people could be on at the same time, and also if it was a BBS with one line, you kind of do fun things here as a way to communicate as a joke, because you could send messages and stuff too. So I guess that's not really what it was for. I guess just something for fun. Let's see, order some food. An Italian waitress meanders over, take your order. Something. If I want it, sure. 4,000 credits. Yikes. Okay, wolf down the food. You know, in the real game, when you're actually playing the game for real, this is fun to explore one time, but otherwise you're not really gonna come here as far as I know. And we can play Tricon Jackpot, which I never really played. So let's see if I can do it without instructions. Name it. Sure. Sure. Oh my goodness, man. I haven't played this since like BBS days. Choose position. What? 2, 3. Oh, I won. Maybe you're trying to get a higher score. I don't know how to break out of here now. 2, 3, 1. Oh, I win again. Yeah, so I think you're just trying to get a higher score. Quit. Oh, I don't know how to quit. 2, 3, 1. 2, 1, 3. 2, 1, 3. 1, 2. Oh, that's what it is. I'm not sure how many rounds. Hey, okay, 10 rounds. I won 100 credits. Cool. That's pretty fun. That's a good mini game. Let's see, what else can we do here? Use the facilities. I think that's you can write on the bathroom wall. Yeah, let's read the writing. Nothing on there. Let's write. Say, Hoogs was here. There's just some fun mini game stuff here. Oh, I didn't have access to use the facilities, so I drank something or ate something. That's interesting. That's very interesting. And chat. I guess if there's people in the bar, you can chat directly with them. Okay. Enough with the tavern. Let's look at the hardware emporium. Okay, so these are the things that you can buy for your ship. Atomic detonators, which blow up planets. They're useful for blowing up enemy planets, as well as blowing up undesirable planets. If you have, not every planet's good for colonization, and you can only have limited number of planets per sector, so you might want to blow them up. Marker beacons just lets you basically put a marker beacon in a particular sector. Corporate devices let you booby trap your ship, so if someone attacks you with too much power to capture your ship and they blow it up, it'll actually do a lot of damage to them. Cloaking devices let you cloak and hide your ship on exit. Um, although people that are scanning a cloaked ship leaves a certain density in a sector, and if people know that density, they'll know there's a cloaked ship there, and then they might uh, arm the sector with mines and offensive attack ships and things like that, so that when you enter the game, you blow up. But if people aren't scripting, it's actually a pretty good strategy. But there's lots of scripts where people find you. Uh, they just search and scan densities and can find you. But I usually cloak as a strategy, just hoping people don't find me. Subspace ether probes let you, let me make sure I'm time out here, let you uh, send a probe to a sector and it'll scan all the sectors in between. And if it's destroyed, you know there's a fighter or something there. Planet scanners lets you scan a planet before landing, so you know if there's fighters and things like that. Limpet tracking mines are really cool. It's a mine, you can put these mines there and it'll latch onto somebody's ship, and if when it hits their ship, you'll get a message that says um, there's a clank on your hull. But if you're going really fast and you don't notice that message and you're not using a helper, it's actually very dangerous, because then your enemy could find your home sector even if you park in your home sector with a limpet mine on you. Space mines just let you mine a sector. It's just sort of a defensive strategy. It can also be an offensive strategy for keeping somebody out of their home sector. Photon missiles, they're usually turned off in games. I usually turn them off, but they let you disable ships, I think, and also if a planet's not shielded, it can take out planetary defenses, so you can land and it'll ignore all the fighters and stuff. It's actually super powerful. Um, it's a way evil players can't really have access to photons unless they have like a really weak ship, and the good ship is the stronger ship in the game, plus has photons, is only advantage because the evil players make a lot more money than the good players. Long range scanners, there's two types. There's a density scanner and a holographic scanner. Holographic scanner is the best. You can see exactly what's in a sector, and density just shows you if there's anything in that sector. Mine disruptors is for taking out people's mines if they mine their sector. Genesis torpedoes creates planets. Transwarp drive, there's two levels of transwarp drive. Not every ship can get transwarp drive. Only in the base game, only the good player Imperial Starship, the corporate flagship, which an evil player can have, but only the head of a corporation can have that ship. And then there's the Havoc Gunstar, which is a low-level ship, doesn't have a lot of holds, but it can have a transwarp drive, which means it can't hop very far. Yeah. So, and level 1, you can transwarp your ship. With level 2 transwarp drive, you can transwarp while you're towing another ship. Right. And psychic probes, basically, when you're haggling for goods, it tells you if you're close or not to getting that really great bargain. So I'm going to buy a couple things here so I can show you. So I've got some atomic detonators. I've got some Genesis torpedoes. Do I have any mines? Yeah, I've got some mines. Okay, so I'm kind of Ethernet probes. I don't have any beacons. Let me buy a beacon so I can show you guys the beacon. All right. So we'll pretend I bought a nice holographic scanner. So now I can show you what the scanners are like. And the FedSpace Police Headquarters. This is great. This is where you go to get a federal commission, which allows you to pilot an Imperial starship. And you have to have at least 500 alignment. So when you do good things in the game, or just each day you play the game, you get an alignment point. If you attack Ferengi or evil traders, you'll get positive alignment points. Once you get at least 500, you can apply for a federal commission, which will give you 1,000 alignment, and you get an Imperial starship. If you drop below your alignment, they'll actually repossess your starship. And you can post a reward on somebody, and you can see if there's any bounties, 10 most wanted list, or claim a reward if you kill somebody. So players sometimes help each other. Good players and evil players, they'll post bounties, kill them, get their alignments like really good or really evil. Really evil alignment's good, I think, for stealing from ports. If you can't tell, I usually don't play evil. I don't know why. It just makes me feel bad. I like being the Federation. I always like Star Trek and stuff. Right. Where's the shipyard? Federation shipyards. So, as you enter Federation shipyards, you pass by row after row of ships. Most of them are shiny and new, but some show signs of use. You recognize the registration of some of the older ships as crashed you've seen at the other trading ports before. So you could sell ships that you captured, buy a new ship, look at ship specs, change your ship's registration, which is the name, or buy the Class 0 items, which is the holds, fighters, and shields. So let's take a look at some of the ships. So you can buy an escape pod for some reason. So merchant cruiser. I always thought this was really cool. You know, when I was a kid playing this for the first time, I loved looking at all these different ship specs. And it tells you all about that. You know, it's really cool NZR. It tells you about the ship and all the specs. So I guess what I'll do is I'll run through these really quickly, and then you can pause the video if you want to read the ship spec. So merchant cruiser, scout marauder, missile frigate, Corellian battleship. I always loved the battleship. That was one of my favorites. Now I kind of usually just jump from you know, merchant cruiser or freighter right into a corporate flagship or Imperial starship, but still like the battleship. Close to my heart. Corporate flagship. So this is a great ship. In the beginning, before you have your federal commission, if you want transwarp, or if you're evil and want transwarp, it's a great ship. And then it tells you the max fighters, the offensive and defensive odds, all that kind of stuff. Colonial transport. I never really use that. Some people use it for moving colonists. So if you're moving colonists from one planet to another in the same sector, you can use colonial transport because it's only uses one turn to take off and land, but otherwise it's not the best. It uses up a lot of turns, so it's I never really use this one. Keep losing track of which letter I'm on. Cargo transport, people use that one a lot. Again, I never was a big cargo transport. It's probably why I lose all the time though. So definitely don't use my strategies. Merchant freighter. That is the most popular ship in the beginning. People sell their merchant cruiser for merchant freighter because it's got the most efficient ratio for trading. I usually don't waste my time. I just kind of just stick with my merchant cruiser so I can pop into a corporate flagship or something. But again, I'm not super competitive with the game. And I think that's the biggest downside now is that most of the remaining players are really super competitive where, I just kind of want to poke around and like I said, just build up my home sector and trade and talk to people, that kind of thing. Imperial Starship. Most powerful ship in the game. I love my Imperial Starship. Have a Gunstar. Like I said, they have a transwarp drive, so they can be popular as like these sort of mini attack ships. I never really used them because since I'm a good character, there's no real reason to use this guy. Oops. Star Master. I like getting the Star Master sometimes. This and the Constellation. I like their defensive, offensive odds. It was a good ship. Sometimes I go into this one. Constellation. Sometimes I'll get that one too. Kind of just early in the game. Just if I feel like it. I was like Constellation, the name, because Constellation class in Star Trek. Takashi Orion. I never really played with this one. It's pretty fast though. Tholian Sentinel. I never really use this because I don't hang out around my planet. I usually cloak or stay in my citadel, which is another thing I'll tell you about. So I guess some people will use a kind of like a new player and throw them in this thing because of the 4.0 or sorry 6.5 combat odds or defensive odds when it's around a corporation planet. But usually people now have so many fighters it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. This thing only holds 7,500 fighters, so it might take from Imperial Starship, your 50,000 fighters, but that's like not even a big deal. Where back when I played it manually, it would take me a month to get a maxed out Imperial Starship or something. Torian Mule, I stay away from that one. And the Interdictor, I kind of stay away from that one too. It's nice because you can trap other players in your sector. I usually use planets for that. I don't really use the Interdictor Cruiser, but some people do. Some people are pretty efficient and competitive at using that guy. That looks like a board cube, except it's flat. Alright, anyway, there's all the ships. Sorry I didn't read them to you. I figured this video is getting is going to be crazy long, so I figure you can just pause the video and read them if you're interested. Alright, what else in Stardock here? Where haven't we been? I think that's everything other than Librarium University Tatus, which I swear is new. I don't remember ever seeing this thing. Or if I just never cared since the 90s about it. I don't know. You've wandered into the entrance of what appears to be a library of some kind. There is a big panel in front of you with some selections that you've never seen before. Archive of Alien Races. Oh, it must be something with my gold aliens. Must be like the Klingons. Alright, so this is when I made these different things, I guess if I populated their information. So I didn't populate any information about the Klingons, but I guess I could have done a description about them, like honor-based warrior society, blah, 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 blah. Shame on me for not doing that, but nobody plays my game anyway, so I guess it doesn't matter. Let's see what the organizations are. Oh, alien traders. Yep, I think because they're the gold ones. That's really interesting. Never really noticed this before. Miscellaneous documents, spacecrafts. Oh, the derelicts. Now, see, I remember that. This is really cool. I'll run through these derelicts and give you a chance to pause it and read about it. They're actually kind of neat backstories. I don't think they're actually in the game because I never found them. I remember the first time I read this, wanting to find these derelicts. I was like, whoa, I gotta find those. Oops. That one. That one. That one. And that one. All right. So that's pretty much, oops, everything in Stardock. A funny thing. So I actually pressed an invalid key in Stardock. If you do that enough, you will get mugged and they'll take all your money. And this happened to me once. I was just in Stardock kind of goofing around because I don't remember the commands, but there's some commands that are hidden that actually take you places. And I was trying this and I had like a bunch of credits. This is again playing manually for hours. And I got mugged and they took all my money. I was so pissed off. Oh my god. I was so angry. I was so angry. But then I knew. Alright. So I'm just going to go to some random sector and oh no, I'm going to scan. I'm going to show you the scanner, right? Alright, so scan. I can do a hollow scan or density. So let me do a density scan. Alright, so you see where it says 40. 40 means there's a spaceship in that sector. 100 means there's a port. And 140 means there's a port and a spaceship. So the guy that was there warped into this sector. Alright, so let's go to 24,168. And there's this evil guy, so let's just blow him up just so you can see it blow up. Should I guess 250? I'll say 400. I'll probably blow him up. That's okay. Oh, alright. You destroyed 206 enemy fighters, 44 remain. He warps out of the sector. There he is. 6433. I think. Yep. Attack of 50. I'm going to capture this guy for you. Okay, so now there's two. I don't know which one was which, but I can hollow scan. And there he is in 24,168. Oh. 1055. So you can see if this was a real player, they would be out of here. 24,168. I'm going to try to capture this guy for you. It's not going too well though. So my combat odds are 1.5 and His are 2.0. So 6 fighters. I'm just going to attack with 10. And I blew him up. I blew him up after all that. Anyway, that's that. And then you can see there's a little bit of space debris and debris, and that'll go away after 1 day. So every day it takes out like 5% of the space debris or something like that. When you blow up planets and things, it uses up a lot. So let's go back to 24,168. So you can see I did a density scan. I see that there's 100 there. And they're back to Stardock there actually for the 6433. And you can see there's a density of 21 in that other sector, and that is because of the debris from blowing him up. And so I'm gonna buy some fuel ore. Let me sell those 5 equipment. I'm not really gonna haggle. I showed you how to do that, so I'm just gonna buy it. All right. So showed you how to port trade, showed you how to attack a ship and attempt to capture it, and how to use your scanners. So let's launch a Genesis torpedo and make a planet. So you definitely don't want to really launch a planet here. The real idea is to find a dead-end sector. So you wander around, and eventually you might find one that's like 2, and then you go, and the next one's 2, and the next one's 2, and the next one's 2, and the next one's 1. So you kind of found like a dead-end sector that had like a little bit of a tube leading to it. That is great. That is a great place to do your planet. You do have to check so you can go out of your little tube that you found, mark the entrance to your tube as an avoided sector, and then see if you can warp to inside your tube, because sometimes there's one-way warps. So even though you can't get out of your tube, there might be another sector that would go into your tube. So it's a little bit complicated, but you want to check that. And then there's also things called bubbles, which are really hard to figure out if you're in a bubble, but because they can be really deep. But you can have a 100 sector bubble where there's just a little entrance to a huge branching thing, and then that is the ultimate. That's what the real players that are competitive, they're trying to find themselves a huge bubble and lock that down that people can't get into, and have huge branching sectors and defenses. So that's kind of the real way to do it. But at least to start, you want to find a nice dead-end sector for your planet. I don't want to spend the time looking for a dead-end sector, so I'm just going to launch the planet right here. Alright, so I'm going to launch Genesis Torpedo, and we'll see. So I got a gaseous planet. That is pretty much a useless planet, so I will call it Uranus. You can make a corporate or personal. Corporate, your teammates that have joined your corporation can land on it. Personal, they can't. It's just yours. Alright, so I'm going to use another Genesis torpedo. Hey, mountainous. So mountainous is a great type of planet. I'll call this one Earth 2. Alright. So a mountainous planet is really good. So takes 2 colonists to make fuel ore, 5 for organics, 20 for equipment. So it's kind of a great planet for getting lots of fuel ore, although volcanic is the best. And then it has a large population, so it can make you lots of fighters. It's quick to upgrade to your citadel, which you can get planetary defenses and things like that. The best planets in the game really are the water planets, because they make I think it's just one colonist or two colonists for organics. They can make massive amounts of organics, which you can sell, and the volcanic, which makes massive amounts of fuel ore. One colonist for one fuel ore. And then they're kind of your gun planet. So you can upgrade your planet to the point where you have a giant laser cannon on your planet called a quasar cannon, which shoots anyone that comes into your sector or tries to land on the planet. So your water planets are cash cows, your volcanic planets are your guns, and I always like having a mountainous planet as sort of like my home base planet that I like to build up and land on. I don't know, I won't say that that's necessarily the best strategy, I just like to use them. Oh my goodness, excuse me. This is a long video. So on my planet, I can go into the Citadel and try to construct one. It's going to tell me I don't have enough stuff. So you have to meet certain requirements to make a Citadel. And then let's see if I can remember all the different levels. So level 1, you can basically stay there, and I think it has a bank. And then level 2, you can set up defenses with fighters. And then level 3 is a quasar cannon. I think I'm missing a level. And level 4, you can transwarp your planet, so it has a transwarp drive, you can move your planet around. And level 5 is a shielded planet, but I think that's level 6, so I think I'm missing one. But anyway, those are different levels, so you have to, it takes time. So like this takes 1 day to construct, and that's why the mountainous is better than the earth type, because earth type take longer to construct. So you can get a citadel really quick on a mountainous planet, and you build it up, and then your planet's kind of like a really good hard base for you, and you can have lots and lots of planets. So we're going to pretend like I have a lot of fuel ore on my planet. Or let's look at the planet command. So you can go into your citadel, change your military reaction levels, if your fighters are defensive or offensive, load unload colonists, leave product on there for creating your citadels or anything. I mean, it's crazy. And your citadel has all sorts of options too. So here, and we'll see, I'm going to bring some colonists to this planet. So I have 150 fuel ore. I don't need all that. So I'm going to leave some fuel ore on the planet. Leave 75. Oops. Alright, so you can see I left 75 on the planet and 75 in my hold. I want to figure out exactly how much it takes to get to Sector 1 to pick up colonists and get back, so that I can maximize my turns by having 0 fuel ore when I get back, so I can get as many colonists as possible in each run. Alright, before I can warp back here, I need to leave a fighter. So I have 29,000 fighters available. I'm going to leave 100 fighters here, corporate and defensive. So you can leave corporate or personal fighters. Corporate fighters your teammates can go through. You can leave them defensive. They won't do anything but block the sector unless people have to attack them to get rid of them. Offensive, if somebody comes in that just rams their ship. Toll, people can pay a toll to get past your fighters. Alright, so 24,168. I'm going to write that down. Oops, not DOS box. Go away, DOS box. Notepad. 24,168, just in case I have to come back to that. Alright, so I'm going to go to Sector 1. Transwarp there. So that's the first time you can see the transwarp drive. You can do a blind transwarp. So I put those fighters on my home base so I can warp back. They have like a homing signal. And if you do a blind transwarp, you could blow up your ship. Never do a blind transwarp. Never, ever, ever. I learned that lesson the hard way too. You land on the planet, take the colonists, 105, oops, and then I'm going to move back to that up where my planet was, 24, 1, 6, 8, transwarp, engage. Okay, going to land on Earth 2, for my 46th planet. Alright, and then I'm going to leave my colonists. S, unload, no. We're going to leave some colonists. We're going to leave them on 1. We're going to drop off these 105 colonists. Okay? And so I have 9 fuel oil left in my hold, and I have 75. So I actually only need 66 fuel oil for my trip. So that's how you would figure that out. All right, and that's what you would do. You would colonize this planet, build up this product, and start upgrading Citadel to a Citadel. The other thing that you can do is, I have a starport here, but you can construct a starport. In the beginning, having a starport that sells fuel oil is good because you can use that to get fuel oil to get colonists until your colonists start racking up the fuel oil. It's not critical, but you know it's nice. It's nice if it's there in one of your home-based sectors. All right, so maybe I'll go to one of my planets and show you a Citadel and what that has. All right, so these are all the options. If you're with your teammates, you could have a secure channel. So you pick a subspace radio channel. There's also clear communication that everyone can see. You can leave messages. It's just amazing, all these options that you can do. All right, so I actually want to go into my corporate menu. All right, and I want to list my corporate planets. So L, I mean, and you can just see all the depth of this game. It's really amazing. All right, so I'm going to go to sector 4170 because I got some good stuff there. Or maybe 1444 has cooler stuff. I'm going to go 1444. All right, go. Okay, so here's one of my home sectors, and I call it a Doomsday Machine, which is one of the most powerful ships in the game. So I was kind of lucky to catch that. And you can see the planets that I have here. So Deep Space Nine is a port that I built, and it's a buy. And I think, and we were here earlier, right? So it was close to Sector 1. Since I didn't have any other human players, it wasn't a concern for me to build this close to Sector 1. In the real game, you would not want to do that. And you can see that Alpha Centauri, I have the maximum Citadel level because it's got shields around it. So let's go ahead and land on that. Okay. Oh, interdictor generator. That's the one I was missing. All right. So there is 6 levels, and one of them is an interdictor generator, which uses your fuel oil to keep people trapped in your sector. So you can turn this on. It's basically a gravity well and interdictor. Keeps them stuck there. You can max it out with some shields. You can see I can warp my planet 500 sectors. I've got 200,000 fuel oil. My military reaction is 0. That means none of my fighters are offensive. They're only in defensive mode. I have 0 credits, so I can put money in my treasury, and you actually gain interest on your money that's in the treasury. Quasar cannon, 100% power, because it's fully charged, and I have 0/0, so it's actually not going to fire. But I can set atmosphere level, sector level. You don't necessarily want to do a full blast because people might come in with like crappy ships on purpose to use up a blast. So let's say your blast does 100,000 damage, but they come in with like a 2,000 strength ship. You just wasted 98,000 damage points. So I usually set these suckers like at 5% each or something, or I might set 5% of sector, 10% of atmosphere. I usually keep them pretty low. And you can stay in your citadel overnight, so you're kind of safe there from people attacking you. And I think I told you about the cloaking device. What are some other cool things? So I didn't talk too much about it, but obviously you can make teams and team up, or make alliances, or break alliances, or you can get on somebody's team and then backstab them, which is a terrible idea because the community is really small and then no one will trust you ever. But maybe back in the day that was an effective strategy at least once. Make starports, I talked about that. You can mine sectors. So I'll drop a couple my mind here. Oh, I don't have any mines, so I'll drop a couple mines. I'm going to drop some armored mines, put all 125 corporate. So now my sector's mined. Somebody comes here, they'll blow up, or they have to use mine disruptors to get in. And the sort of depth goes on and on and on. I know I'm missing lots of things just because I've gone in so many different directions here. But I wanted to at least go over all the major things. Oh, blowing up a planet. You want me to blow up a planet? let me blow up a planet for you guys. Oh, how about Pluto? Since Pluto's not a planet anymore, it's a Kuiper Belt object or dwarf planet. So let's blow them up. All right, so we're gonna land. We're gonna land on Pluto. So I'm sorry, Pluto. All right, here we go. So I'm gonna destroy the planet. You can attack the colonists. You can just murder all the colonists. I don't know if I ever done that. Oh, yeah, good reason to murder colonists. Negative alignment. Good way to get negative alignment. But we're gonna use an atomic detonator. You want to do this? Oh, yes. I do remember why you want to murder colonists. So the colonists can attempt to disarm your atomic detonator. If they disarm your atomic detonator, they actually don't. They set it off, but you're still on the planet, they blow you up. So you actually don't want to blow up a planet that has lots of colonists on it because they will attempt to disarm it and they could blow you up, which is a terrible, terrible idea. So watch out for that. So if there's some colonists on there, you might want to wipe them out first. That's what that was for. Sorry, I'm a little rusty. And you can see there's 10% space debris from that, and there's just the space debris from that. And you could also attack a starport. So let me go to some random sector in the game here. We'll blow up a starport. Oh, that's the Federation ship. They don't really do anything except for blow you up if you do something bad in Fed space. And they're indestructible. You cannot destroy them. Oops. Okay, 28981. Let's go to 28981. Alright, so we're going to blow up this starport here. We're going to attack this port. Yes. Oh, no shielding. Plasma lasers on dock. Battle begins. So this isn't a very powerful port. No big deal. Let's use 5,000 fighters. And, oh, poor port. So my alignment went down, but that's okay. I've got a pretty good alignment. And you can see there's radiation in here, so you can't stay overnight in here. The radiation will kill your crew and your ship, and it has 25% nav hazard, which is 250 points if you hit it. So every 1% is a 10-point hit on your shield. So this is a 250-point hit. So you can set up some pretty good damage zones by knocking up some nav has, by blowing up planets and things like that, which is a strategy some people use. There's also a really nasty strategy where people go in your sector and make lots of extra planets, and then they collide and can destroy your planets. I always hated that. That's pretty cheap, I think. Some games people say that that's against the rules, and I like those games. There's all kinds of strategies. I mean, the way this game's been out for so long and people have played it so much, it's just, the level of strategy is just amazing. Amazing how proficient people are at this game. Anyway, that is, just believe it or not, a basic look from a non-competitive Tradewars player at Tradewars 2002. It is a great game. If you've never played it, I'd advise checking it out. I think it's a lot of fun. And boy, this was a big part of my childhood, playing this game on BBS with some people local to me. Some I knew, some I didn't. A couple guys I met locally, and some of the other guys I never did meet. But it was really a great time. My first foray into the online world and multiplayer gaming. Will always be near and dear to my heart, Tradewars 2002. My favorite BBS game, and probably my favorite online game of all time, and definitely my favorite game of the 90s, or at least the early 90s. Alright, I hope you enjoyed this look at Tradewars 2002. Thanks for watching.